Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu mavit vishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya,
Karmendriyani sanyamya,
ya aste manasa smaran,
ya aste manasa smaran,
indriyartan vimudhatma,
indriyartan vimudhatma,
mithyachara sa uchyate,
mithyachara sa uchyate,
yastvindriyani manasa,
yastvindriyani manasa,
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
niyamyarabhaterjuna,
karmendriyai karmayogam,
Karmendriyai karmayogam,
asaktah savishishyate,
asaktah savishishyate,
niyatam kuru karmatvam,
niyatam kuru karmatvam,
karmajyayo hyakarmanaha,
karmajayo hyakarmanaha,
sharirayatra pichate,
sharirayatra pichate,
na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
na prasidhyeda karmanaha,
yajñarthat karmanonyatra,
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
सह यज्ञाः प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
येषवोस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
येषवोऽस्त्विष्टकामधुक्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last session, we were seeing this verse number 10, wherein he says, Saha yagnyaha prajah srishtva purovacha prajapatihi. Pura uvacha. So the Prajapati, creator, he said way back when the creation happened. So he's putting it in a dramatic style now to make this principle of yajna more interesting. See, if you take the pure principles, they are very terse. It's only when you raise your consciousness to that level that you'll be able to consistently be exposed to the pure principles and not get bored. It's not about being exposed to these principles. Even if you are exposed, you will not be able to absorb. That is why this dramatic style or examples, in the same chapter later on, we'll find Krishna giving various examples of who had practiced this sadhana of karma yoga and how he had achieved a lot. So all that also we'll be seeing. So why these things are being given? Because it requires a very pure mind to be able to absorb the pure principles, the energy behind the pure principles. A principle is in a very raw form. So only very few people can absorb that, and even for those few people who are able to absorb the principles directly, whether they'll be able to do it continuously on a consistent basis, it is a big question mark. In the good old days, they were able to do it. But as the deterioration of the mind happened, one has lost that capacity to absorb the energy continuously on a consistent basis. How do we know this? We can easily find that out by the capacity to concentrate which people are having. The concentration capacity, the capacity to retain the mind's attention on something has reduced considerably. That is why so much of variety is required, whether it's in the movies or whether it's in the music. Any field you take, within a few minutes nowadays people are unable to concentrate. That's a tremendous decrease, tremendous deterioration of the mind. So in the yogic approach, we increase the attention span. Attention span means not merely sitting there. See, when we talk of attention span, number one, it is focusing, concentrating. And number two, not getting bored with it. And the third is most important, absorbing the energy behind it. So these are all more advanced levels. But first, even if you take the attention span, that itself has become very less today. But it is only in improving your capacity to focus, the capacity to keep your mind engaged at your will, that you can actually awaken your inner powers. If you are unable to focus, focus here doesn't mean simply thinking about something which you like. There is no effort from your side. Whenever you want the mind to stay put with one thing, it should be able to do it. That is called concentration. The advanced form of concentration is a practice of meditation. Further advanced form of meditation is going beyond concentration, single pointedness, and getting into the silence. So the various levels of training the mind are there. So we need to carefully do the sadhana and keep moving in this path of self-mastery or mind mastery, we can say. So when the attention span is less, the mind runs helter-skelter. These kinds of the styles, that is the dramatic style, the stories, the examples, all these things help in bringing back the mind to whatever the topic of discussion is. So using this dramatic style, he is saying when the Creator created the creation, he created it along with the principle of yajna, sahayajnaha. So the word purovacha, pura uvacha, very, very early, that is the first stage, the Creator said this. As I told you, the mind has a value, or of the value of the past. When you say something happened long back, immediately an extra value is created in the mind. It is purely psychological if you think about it. What does it matter whether somebody said this thousands of years back or somebody is saying it right now? It is all one and the same. The message is only important, but the mind has this value when something is said in the past. So that's why he has used the word pura uvacha. It was said by the Creator long, long back. So as a sadhak, when you're trying to master this yogic approach, how do you use this? When something is said long back, is naturally psychologically you're creating a value in the mind. But apart from that, what you should do is, you should understand this word pura more deeply. Pura literally means ancient. There is another word which the great masters use, that is sanatana. Just as you have Purana, Sanatana, that word means ancient, it also means permanent. So this word Pura should be understood with reference to that word Sanatana. Then it gives you more depth. This entire wisdom itself is called Sanatana Dharma only, Sanatana Dharma is not a separate religion or anything. Dharma means principles, righteousness, righteous principles. Anywhere, anybody who gives any righteous principle, that is called Dharma. Sanatana Dharma means those righteous principles which are permanent, which have been existing in the past, which will exist now, which will exist in the future. It's not a separate religion as how people are understanding it to be today. So, one thing is to understand the word Pura as old and to stop with that. Yes, it will create a nice effect in the mind. You will feel good about it. But that's not enough. As a sadhak, if you want to go more deep, you need to use that word Pura more effectively. When something has worked long back, that principle behind it will work even today. That is Sanatana. And that same principle will work in the future also. The application will vary, but the principle will work. That is the deeper connotation of Pura. That is, one way to look at it is something which happened long back. But the other way to look at it is something which has been happening from long back. And it will continue to happen. Then the apt word would be Sanatana, the direct word. This is very important because something happened long back. So what is the relevance in your life? But the moment you understand it this way, then now these principles become very intimate to you. How do I apply it in my present context? You will automatically start thinking on those lines. Otherwise, there are people who just simply keep talking about the glories of the past. If you just simply keep glorifying the past and you don't put efforts in the present, then you will never progress. You will be a big talker, but practically you will not achieve anything. The reverse is also true. If you put in a lot of effort in the present, but you don't have any respect for the past, then you will develop a lot of ego and you will learn things in the hard way because you yourself will have to do all the trial, error, make mistakes and learn. Whereas when somebody has applied it in the past and when you get that information, you will be able to progress faster. So it's an intelligent combination of these two approaches which works best. That is an integral aspect of the yogic approach. To learn whatever we can from the past and then bring it to our context in the present. Whatever it is that you are doing, how do I apply it there and how do I make my life better? What is very interesting is the Puranic incidents. Now they are happening in your life every moment. If you go deeper into those incidents and get the principles, you will be amazed to find that is happening every moment. For example, here he is talking of the principle of yajna. Right now, an yajna is going on. See, yajna means what? If we take the fire ritual, there is the fire. Then you bring the ahuti, offering. You offer it into the fire. Then the fire shoots up. And the belief is that the fire god blesses. Now, this is the process of yajna. So, right now, the yajna is happening. How? The words which you are hearing, that is the offering. They are entering you. And what is the fire which is being kindled? When you hear this wisdom in the form of words, when you oblate it into yourself, now the fire of wisdom is kindled, and that fire of wisdom will bless you. I am giving this example because it is right now happening, you are hearing. Like this, if you see, in any activity, the principle of yajna will be at work. Something will be offered, something will be kindled, and that process, that activity will be maintained. It's very interesting. When you actually understand this principle of yajna deeply, you will begin to understand the experiences of your life in a very deep way. Actually, you will go on worshipping, because every time you oblate something into the fire and the fire is kindled, you bow down, no, in that ritual part. But that's exactly what is happening at all levels in your life. So unless and until you bring it to your context here, the word pura means nothing. There's something which happened long back. Okay. You will just hear it like a story and you will move on. That is not the yogic approach. So whenever examples are given, whenever certain certain things are given in a dramatic style, now immediately you should become more alert. You should see how you can bring it to your context. That is the effective usage of yogic approach with respect to this wisdom. So Puro Vacha, the Creator said this at that time, but every moment something is being created, even now. Now, which means the Creator is functioning as it were every second. So this drama which he is saying is actually happening now also, and it will continue to happen in the future. So Pura, when you take it literally, it looks very, very ancient. But if you go into the depth of it, there is no past. Actually, there is no future also. It is just this present moment. Pura actually represents this present moment with that ancient depth. If you are able to view your present experience with the depth which you get when you consider something which has happened long back, if you are able to do this successfully here, then you are doing the sadhana of Pura. How much of value you get. Something, an object is given to you and it said, this is 2000 years old. Immediately, so much of value. If you are able to bring the same value to your present experience, then the situation itself changes. Your mind gets inspired. The best starts flowing from within you. So everything which you do, create a lot of value for it in your mind. If you don't value your own actions, how can you expect others to value it? Why is it that the mind wants recognition from others. Have you ever thought about it? You're doing something. Why do you want others to come and say, this is so wonderful? Because you have no value for what you're doing. You're having a complex. When you don't have that value, when you don't create that value, then in order to fill up that lacuna, now you want others to come and appreciate it. You want to increase the value through the appreciation of others. But it can never happen that way. Because when you do something in order to get another person's appreciation, you will not be able to focus in the present properly. You will not be able to produce quality work. So, if you want to practicalize this principle of yajna, this is something which you need to practice. This is an essential aspect of yajna, that is creating that value in whatever it is that you're doing. If you're cooking, now create a value for that. And how much? Infinite value. It's a divine expression. Everything which you do is an expression of the divine. What is the value which you have for yourself? Very less. People have no self-esteem. Either they don't have any self-esteem, or if at all some people start putting value on themselves, they get into the other extreme of becoming very proud and arrogant. But to have an intrinsic value for yourself as an individual, respect for yourself, that is a very, very spiritual quality. And when you don't have value for yourself, how can you expect others to have value for you? That's a mistake which you make. You want to fill up that lacuna and you look for it externally. That is going against the principle of yajna. What is yajna? You create that fire, you pour the oblations, the fire god shoots up and you bow down with reverence. There is so much of value in that activity which is being done. So take that principle of creation of value and start applying it in your activities. Don't look for external appreciation. People may appreciate, people may not appreciate. That doesn't matter. Sometimes many people appreciate without actually understanding the depth. Sometimes people reject it without even knowing what it is. See, the great masters who gave out the Upanishadic truths, they are unknown. They never looked for any recognition. And even if somebody may have gone to them and said, "Oh, sir, what you're giving is ultimate wisdom," they would just merely nod, probably give a smile to satisfy the other person. Otherwise, they were too much above all this. They are not dependent on the world's appreciation. They know the intrinsic value of whatever wisdom they were giving. When Krishna is giving this wisdom to Arjuna, was he looking for any appreciation from Arjuna? Just imagine. That will be so, even that very idea sounds so ridiculous now. The moment you create a value in what you're doing, you will get into a state of inspiration. Everything which you do, you will be done in an inspired way. Every second of your life will become so enjoyable, so spiritual, so inspiring. At a very advanced stage, the sadhana is simply to observe one's breathing. A yogi has so much of value on breathing. With every breath, he goes on getting inspired. Just imagine that state, So you should practice this in your life, whatever it is that you're doing. There is no point in expecting appreciation from external sources. If it comes on its own, no need to shy away from the appreciation also. Just take it in stride. But the moment you get swayed, your mind gets so affected by external praise or criticism, both way, it means you're lacking something inside. You have not put the right value here. See, a person who puts the right value, supposing let's say another person comes and criticizes, he will examine it objectively. Is there any merit in what the other person has said? Yes means he will be willing to correct. If there is no merit, if that person is simply coming and criticizing, he will just ignore it and go. But the mind's happiness is not dependent on the other person's appreciation, the value which the other person is giving. It is the intrinsic value created from within which makes the mind peaceful. So this is a beautiful aspect of yajna. Create an intrinsic value from within for your life, for everything which you're doing, for yourself, for your possessions, whatever it is that you're having. See, we tend to we don't have any value for what we have. When you don't have a value for what you have, then you start valuing things which others are having. Oh, that person is having this person is having this. What are you having? Do you have a value for that? When you keep on practicing this, a stage would come where you don't require anything from outside. A simple experience like, you just see a sunrise or a sunset or a flower blooming. Now that will inspire you. Simple things in life will start looking so valuable to you. We take everything for granted. Just drinking a glass of water will be a great experience. You will feel extremely grateful. You will enjoy that thoroughly. So the so-called simple things in life are actually teaching you the highest wisdom. Because the principle of yajna is there. They are all happening with this principle of yajna, saha yajna. Means it is not only when creation happened. Here he is using the word praja srishtva, means when the creation happened. But what is interesting is, the principle of yajna is present not only when something is created. When that object continues to exist during maintenance period also, the same yajna functions. See, let's take your own life. It will become very clear. When you were born, Sahayagnaha, the birth happened along with the principle of Yajna. I told you, in the Chandogya Upanishad, the physical union between a male and a female has been described as Yajna. Now, if you take it from your own standpoint, when you inhaled the first breath, that was a yajna, because the oblation was that inhalation. And the moment you took in that first breath, the flame of life was kindled. So your very creation happened along the principles of yajna only. I am only explaining this from the standpoint of breath. If we go into more detail, it will be very interesting. Everything is yajna. You will be amazed. You will keep on going down. You will be in a constant state of inspiration. When we come to the 4th chapter, we will be seeing that wherein he takes the entire life and he gives the subtler practices of yajna. It's amazing. But here itself, I am introducing that principle to you so that when we come there, it will make it very easy for you. So just taking it from the point of view of your breath, that is viewing life from the point of view of your breath. The first breath which you took in, that's when life started, right? Sometimes when babies are born, if they don't cry or all that, the doctors come and tap the child to make it breathe. So the inhaled breath is the offering, and the fire of life is kindled. Yajna. You were born with the principle of yajna, sahayajnaha. And what is interesting is, throughout your life, you are living along with the principle of yajna only. Right now also you are breathing in, breathing out. It is yajna. Every activity which you are doing, something is being offered, something is being kindled. It is yajna. The words enter your ears, the hearing, the fire of hearing is kindled. The wisdom enters you. The wisdom is the ignorance is the oblation. You offer the ignorance. The fire of wisdom is kindled. That's why this is called jnana yajna. When you're seeing something, the object is being offered and the sight is being kindled. When you go into the specifics, it's amazing. If you take your body, the cellular behavior, every second, thousands or millions of cells are being destroyed. One way we can see it as destruction, but the other way is they are being given up. The oblation is that. And the new cells are being kindled. This process is going on all the time. When you take food and eat, the food is the offering. The hunger, the Jataragni as they call, that is the fire into which the offering is being made. You will always find these two things, the offering and something will be kindled. So the moment you start recognizing that, you will understand the power behind what he is saying. Sahayajnaha. When you recognize this fact, then you will understand the deeper meaning of Pura. Deeper meaning of Pura is Sanatana, that which is happening all the time. This is not something which happened way back. Creation is happening even now, no? Every time some new cells are being created. Something is being created all the time. So yajna is happening. You are failing to recognize it because of ignorance. But when you gain this wisdom, your very perception changes. You become so aware, you will become so meditative. Just recognizing the principle of yajna interwoven in all your experiences of life will get you into a deep state of silence, into a deep state of meditativeness. You will become a watcher of life. You will see the play of divinity everywhere. You will become so silent, a silent watcher, just like you sit on top of a hill and supposing you're sitting a little raised platform like a hill or something, and if you watch whatever is happening, totally unaffected. So that is the kind of experience you will start having with your own life. On one hand, you will be acting dynamically. Sometimes people will come and praise you. Sometimes people will come and put you down. Sometimes you meet with success. Sometimes you meet with so-called failure. These are all just interpretations. Sometimes you meet a very sweet person. Sometimes you meet a person who is very rough with you. Sometimes you experience heat. Sometimes you experience cold. But you will become a watcher of your own life. As you're talking, one aspect will be watching you talking. As you're listening, you will be watching that whole drama happening. This will not make you non-participative. Being a silent witness doesn't mean being non-participative. No, it only means getting attuned to that divine principle within you and seeing the drama of life unfold in front of you. There you means the self, the divine self. That is yajna. Sahayajna praja srishtva. Instead of praja, you put your name. Praja means people. Instead, Sahayajna, whatever your name is. Okay, when you were created, Purovacha, this happened long back. From long back, it's been happening. And it's continuing to happen. Even right now, at this very moment, it's happening. It's interesting. I was just explaining to you the first breath you took, just from the viewpoint of breath. Throughout your life, that yajna is going on. Then what about death? We will see it from the perspective of breath. Death is also yajna only. What is happening in death? The last breath which you give out, the exhalation, when you don't inhale back, that is called death. See, every time you offer, whenever you exhale, it is an oblation. You're offering, and you're also the exhalation is something which you're offering outside, and the inhalation is something which you're taking it inside. The oblation is happening in the reverse direction. Life is being kindled. But the last breath, when you exhale, now you're offering it outside. And what is it kindling? It is kindling the journey of the soul. Because once you drop this body, now you as a soul, you take up another body and you continue your journey. So death is also happening for a purpose. When this body is no longer suitable for your journey, that is the time when you drop this body. That process is called death. When you don't understand this, death is very painful. When someone dies, that causes a lot of pain. Yes, that pain will be there. But as a sadhak, you should go more deep and understand what's happening. That last breath is being offered by the soul so that its journey can be kindled. It can continue with its journey. And that soul is born again. And when it is born again, sahayagnya praja srishtva, another yagnya. So whether it is birth, whether it is life, or whether it is death, all these three are happening along with yagnya only. It is. Everything is yagnya. When you absorb what is being given to you right now, when you absorb it properly, when you take it into your system, thereafter the complexion of your life will completely change. Someone asked me, why is it that in this ancient culture everything is being worshipped? And so when someone is born, there is a puja. Before going to school, there is a puja. When someone dies also, there is some ritual. Why? Because that is the very perception of these great masters. They saw the whole life as nothing but yajna. So the external ritual is only symbolic, but your inner perception of seeing your life as yajna, that is the key to spiritual growth. If you are merely doing the external rituals without this deep understanding of life, then that ritual also becomes one more in your list of mechanical activities. But once you understand this principle and you start seeing life itself as yajna, then every aspect of life becomes spiritual. There is nothing like worldly and spiritual. There is nothing like sensual and spiritual. Everything becomes spiritual to you. Everything becomes yajna. It is an amazing principle which he is giving. Sahayagnya praja srishtva. When at every moment something is being created. And that is happening along with yajna, he says. Puro vacha. We will come to Prajapatihi and all that later. But Pura means right from time immemorial, this principle of yajna has been functioning. That is why they say, no, Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. Hari means, little meaning is Lord Vishnu, reference to Lord Vishnu. So Vishnu is Ananta means infinite. Hari Katha Ananta means the stories about him are also infinite. What is the true meaning of that? Hari represents that infinite formless reality. So God, or that infinite, the formless reality, that supreme power, is infinite in nature, ananta, no end. No end means no beginning also. No beginning, no end. Hari Katha Ananta. What is that Katha? Katha means story. That it's a drama. One thing is to interpret it in a very narrow sense as stories about Lord Vishnu, which is given in the Puranic books. It is not that. Right now, every experience is telling you a story of the infinite. When you change your perception, when you become deep, then you see every experience of your life as Hari Katha, as the story of the infinite, because yajna is happening. It becomes a divine experience. This is an endless process. If I were to ask you, how many experiences have you gone through yesterday? Now, can you really answer that? Millions and millions of experiences, starting from seeing to hearing to smelling to breathing, internally how many, externally. If we get into every detail, within one experience of seeing how many things are happening, it is an endless process. So, yajna is in recognizing the divine expression everywhere, Hari Katha. And when you start seeing your experiences as Hari Katha, that is the drama of the infinite, then slowly your mind will start moving towards Hari. Hari means infinite. You may call that infinite as Vishnu, as Shiva, any name you want, Shakti. Here, Harihi is not used in a restrictive way. Then you will become so powerful because your mind will start getting attuned to that infinite. If you are unable to see the expression of the infinite, how can you get attuned to the infinite? And where is that infinite being expressed? In your own life. Your very creation is infinite. Your very existence is an expression of infinite. Yajna is happening. And even when a death happens, so-called death, it is also nothing but yajna. You know, whenever the discourses started, they said, no, Hari Om, everyone. It's a very deep expression. If you can say it mechanically, Hari Om, you can say it like that, there's no meaning in that. But the real meaning of that is Harihi Om. We are invoking that infinite which is present within, which is present in the speaker and which is present in the listener. That is the very depth of our yogic perception. Namah Shivaya, they say. Bowing down to that Shiva, that infinite reality within and without. These are all very, very powerful principles, and that's based on yajna. The root principle is yajna. Wherever there is a bowing down, it means there is yajna. So, saha yajnaha prajaha. Put yourself and your life. Srishtva. So, one is to see that you were created when you were born. But at this moment, every experience has a starting point, creation. And the experience exists and then it ends. And then a fresh experience starts. So, at the creation of every experience, yajna is happening, he says. From the creation. one way to look at it is at the time of creation. But if you change it to from the creation, it becomes more interesting. And it keeps continuing. Moment by moment, the principle of yajna is at work. And when you think of this, your ego just goes away. Just as supposing you go to the Himalayas and see the vastness of the snow there, anybody's ego just melts, at least temporarily. But the moment you come back, again the ego surfaces. Now this is a permanent way of melting your ego. Because when you see this grand principle of yajna, which is happening right from the time of creation, and it's continuing, and it will continue to function. When you look at this principle at work, now where is the question of I am so important? All the self-centeredness goes away. Your mind will automatically turn towards the infinite. You will become very humble. It is a natural process. And when your ego goes away, then that is also a yajna happening, because the ego is the oblation and the higher self is being kindled from within you. Even in the spiritual path, in every step, the same principle of yajna only happens. So that's why I said in the last session and in one of the previous sessions also, if you master yajna, actually you become a master of your life. So mastering yajna doesn't mean the external rules of the ritual yajna. We are talking of the mastering the principle of yajna by applying it everywhere, by applying it in every aspect of your life, every moment. And what is interesting is the moment you start doing it, you will find that you will never be bored with your life, because 24/7 you will be so occupied. In what? In doing yajna. When I say doing yajna, the yajna is happening. You just start recognizing that. Your whole life becomes like a movie. When you watch a movie, you enjoy it. But when the same incidents are happening in your life, you don't enjoy them. Why? Have you ever thought about it? Because you are completely involved here. There you are a watcher, you are objective. So this is a powerful sadhana, the combination. First he is giving you the principle by saying sahayajnaha. Then he says from when? Prajaha srishtva, from creation. So the yajna starts off from creation. Pura means olden times. From time immemorial it has been going on and on and on. Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. So if you want to learn what real spirituality is, you don't require books. You need to watch your own experiences. And in every experience, the katha of the infinite, the story of the infinite will be unfolded to you. A yogi who is in deep meditation experiences this. Every yogi experiences the whole life as divine. It's very difficult to put this into words. It's very difficult to explain this. That's why in the yogic approach, we take enough time. We do it at our own pace in a relaxed way. Because the same thing, if we put a time frame and if we, then there'll be a lot of struggle. See, if you allow the cuckoo to just be itself, the cuckoo is sitting on the tree, it'll keep singing so beautifully. Same cuckoo, if you bring it and keep it in front of 10 people and say, now come on, sing and show, it cannot sing. That flow will not be there. That's why even when we do the recording for the Yoga Sankirtan, the next Yoga Sankirtan is also in progress, very, very powerful. The next Yoga Sankirtan's focus is to make you powerful sadhaks. The energy levels are amazing. It's still in progress. It's shaping up very, very well, very powerfully. But every time when the recording is done, I tell them, whatever comes out, simply record. Later on, it can be analyzed. Later on, whether this was sung properly, this was all that later. But with the flow, in that meditative flow, what is coming first, capture that. That's what I tell them. Because anything which is done with the flow becomes very creative. See, here he's talking about Prajapatihi, the creator. Now, what is interesting is, in the first line, he is talking about the ultimate creator. But in the second line, when we decode it, we'll be seeing he is actually giving you the formula for creation. How to create your life. If you just merely read the translation, you will not be able to get the deeper messages. Anyway, we'll be going into the depth of it. So when you keep on mastering this principle of yajna, then you will become the Prajapatihi. Prajapatihi means one who presides over creation, who is a master of creation. So you will become a master creator of your own life. That is the power of this verse. We'll be seeing that. But first, I want you to absorb these words. First is Srishtva. Srishtva means creation. So either you can take creation when it first started, but if you go further into the depth, whenever anything is created. Now, second thing is Saha Yajnaha. It is created along the principles of Yajna. Prajaha, instead of Prajaha, put yourself. Then you are bringing it to your context. When I am saying put yourself, it is not only about you as a person, you and your life experiences. So every experience is being created, moment by moment. So Srishtva Pura, and this has been happening from time immemorial. It is the Sanatana. Sanatana means permanent. This principle will never change. It is the fundamental law of life. If you take away yajna, there can be no world. The world functions along the principles of yajna only. If you take away sweetness, there can be no sugar. If you take away the salty taste, there can be no salt. If you take away yajna, there can be no world. If you take away yajna, there can be no you or your life experiences. And what is interesting is, this principle is not outside you. Saha yajnaha. It was, your very creation came through this process of yajna. So it is happening all the time, it is happening within you, it is there right within you. So it is easy to master it if you put in that effort. See, if you have to acquire something from outside, then you can say, sir, it may be difficult. This is something which is there inside you. It has to be triggered. A master only triggers that awareness. And as the awareness increases, he helps you to gain control over this process of yajna. And when you gain complete control and mastery over this process of yajna, you become a creator of your life. That's what in the second line he says, by this may you propagate, let this be the wish-fulfilling cow of your desires, ishtakama dukh. Whatever it is that you wish, how do you create that? How do you materialize that? It is only by mastering the principles of yajna. Let us put it this way. To the extent you have mastered the principles of yajna, to that extent you will be a creator. When you don't have this wisdom, now you will keep on complaining. And there is no end to the list of complaints. Just as Harikatha is Ananta, is infinite. That is coming from knowledge, wisdom. When you don't have that wisdom, complaints are also endless. It can keep on going. So you have to change the energy pattern within you. So we will stop with that here. I have given very, very deep, subtle principles, extremely powerful. See, especially when it comes to materialization and all that, we have to be a little careful. The whole secret cannot be revealed like this, but the principles, to whatever extent it can be revealed, definitely will be revealed. But in the future empowerments, the science of materialization will be taught in a practical way, and the empowerment will be given. A lot of purification is required. The purification of the mind. Otherwise, you can start misusing these powers. Sometimes unintentionally also. See, if you don't have control over your own emotions, if you get angry, if you get this, then how automatically you will start using your powers in the negative direction. So that is why the masters said, the masters emphasized on doing daily sadhana and purifying oneself. So keep doing that. Don't miss your sadhana, because purification, the purification process which you do on a daily basis through sadhana over a long period of time, that is what really prepares you to master all this. That is what will qualify you for even attending the higher empowerment programs which we'll be seeing in the future. Okay, so before we do the Nididhyasana meditation, I will take up a question. This question has been asked by Keshav. He's put it in the YouTube comment section only. Hari Om sir, thanks for the series on Yajna. I recently played a competitive sport where I was failing badly in my shots and letting my team down. I recollected the nervousness due to the doer ego aspect. I think you're referring to I am the doer, the kartrutva bhavana. And thought a mere recognition will help me collect myself and do my best. But it flopped. How do I progress post the awareness stage to get myself centered? Kindly advise, sir. It's a very interesting question which Keshav has asked. This will be extremely useful for all the sadhaks. So the reference here is to that ego, how it manifests. It was mentioned in the previous verse. One is arambhata bhavana. I am starting something. Then kartrutva bhavana. I am doing something. And then bhoktrutva bhavana. I am enjoying something. So the ego keeps on manifesting like this. Now, how do you remove that? We'll come to that example which he has given later, the sport, whatever he was playing, that I will finally give some tips. But first of all, you should understand the principle. When the identification is with your lower self, and the emphasis is on that, that is what is kartrutva bhavana, whenever you're doing something. Now, suddenly just because you have now become aware, you have become aware that yes, I am having kartrutva bhavana, you cannot expect the I am the doer attitude to immediately go away. It is a long-standing habit which you have created. It's like, you have a habit of, let us say, getting up late in the morning. Now, suddenly you become aware of it. You can't expect yourself to become perfectly disciplined from that moment, just because you become aware of it. Because it's a habit which has been created over a period of time. So today, in one instance, you have become aware. That is a very good start. But don't expect it to immediately go away. That is a very unrealistic expectation. Because if you have that kind of expectation, you will become very frustrated, because the process of self-growth, the process of spiritual growth happens gradually. You have to keep doing the sadhana, and over a period of time only you will be able to see the results. It is like this. Supposing you take a photograph today, and after few years you take another photograph, you see yourself, you will see a distinct difference. But let's say you click a photograph today, the very next day, tomorrow again you click a photograph, third day you click another photograph of yourself, and then you compare. There will be no difference, at least perceptibly there will be no difference. immediately you will say, oh, I am not growing at all. Will you say that? No. The growth is happening, but the growth is happening at such a minute level that it is not yet manifest. So when you become aware of something, here in this example it is kartritva bhavana. For others it can be any other negative trait. When you become aware of it once, it is like a small step which you have taken, a micro step in the growth, in your personal growth. So you just continue to do your sadhana. Slowly, slowly, just as day by day the changes are happening physically, similarly, your mind, the spiritual growth will also happen on a, if you give it a certain period of time. We can't define it. Even if you compare yourself, okay, 3 months back what was I, now what is my state, you can definitely see a difference. But just because you are aware of something, now immediately it should change, means that's a highly unrealistic expectation. You will only put pressure on yourself and you will get frustrated. This is the base point. Now coming to that sport which you were talking about, or it can be any other activity, when you see that you are having the I am the doer attitude, you become aware. Now I'll give you a practical tip of what you can do in the heat of the moment. So when you become aware that the I am the doer, kartritva bhavana is there, if you say, now let me start thinking about the infinite, let me practice yajna, om, hari om and all that, it will not work, because the heat of the moment has already created a lot of stress in you. That is what is manifesting as I am the doer attitude. There you cannot say, now I will think about God, and it will not work. That's why in the long-term basis, you have been asked to do the sadhana. So at that moment, practically what you can do is, there are two things. One is that I, and the other is whatever action you're doing. Here in this example, it is a sport. It could be any activity. Now, practically what you can do is just shift your involvement from that I and start getting involved with that activity. Here, this example, sport, whatever sport which you were playing, you have not mentioned that, you start getting very much involved in that sport. Then the focus will shift from that I to that activity. The kartritva bhavana will reduce. When I am saying get involved in the activity, now immediately don't ask me, sir, you only said earlier you should act in a detached way, don't get involved. That is a general principle. But in this particular context, when you are getting too involved with that I am the doer, there if you shift your focus to the action, then that I will be forgotten. The action will automatically be done. And then for the long term progress, anyway, you're going to keep doing your sadhana. This will help so much. People who have this, like even in public speaking, some people feel very self-conscious. When they ask me, sir, what do I do? I'm aware of it now. How do I get over it? Simple. Get involved with whatever you're going to talk. That subject matter. That is easier to practice than the further higher practice of think about God. That comes through sadhana. So this is a simple practical tip which is being given to you. Practice it and see. Whenever you find that the kartritva is manifesting, start losing yourself in the action. From the ultimate standpoint, that is also involvement, but that is better than having the kartritva bhavana. And then slowly we can further move up. You will be in a position to apply the higher principles of yajna also. Is this clear? This is a very important point because as this question is being answered, I see one is directly giving the answer to the question, but another important sadhana principle is also being conveyed here. That is, the practicality is very important. When the higher things are being told, like today, it will be very inspiring for you. Use that to be inspired. But when you are actually practicing, see what your level is and apply it at your level. Don't talk high philosophy beyond your level and leave the practicality. This is very important. So in the yogic approach, we use the higher concepts to keep on getting inspired so that we can do sadhana on a consistent basis. That will give you the long-term growth. But experience by experience, we use the relative knowledge, not the absolute knowledge, the relative knowledge, and apply them to keep bettering ourselves. So this way, your growth will be expedited. Okay, so practice this, and if you have further clarifications also, you can always bring it to my notice. We'll definitely clarify everything. That just remember this, that combination of being very, very subtle and appreciating the higher wisdom and being very practical and acting in a practical way. That is what you should achieve as a sadhak. In the name of sadhana, don't become impractical. Or in the name of being practical, don't miss out on the higher wisdom which gives you that depth. So now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. with every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. I am not this physical body. I am not these various emotions and thoughts. I am that supreme, infinite self. I have the power to create my life. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. It was a very deep session which we had. The more you keep listening to this, the more it will inspire you. It will purify you. It will increase your absorption capacity. Do your sadhana on a daily basis. That will help you to absorb this wisdom fully. And to the extent you absorb this, to that extent you will get transformed. It is a gradual process, but it is a sure process. There are no loopholes there, provided you just follow that process as it is suggested. You will get the full benefits. Okay? So we'll stop with this today. I'll see you in the next session. Thank you very much. Hari Om.